Hey guys, it's me, not your average fox, and today I have an interesting video on a gaming mice. So today I'm going to be talking about how much should you spend on a gaming mouse. So to start with, when it comes to gaming peripherals, there are two types of people. The first group buys the cheapest thing they can find and says, a mouse is a mouse. And the second group, well, they will spend £150 or more on a professional wireless esports gaming mouse because it weighs 3 grams less and has lower click latency. So who's right in this? Well, before we answer that question, let's talk about the mouse that I use. So my daily driver is a Redragon M913 Impact Elite, which is a 12-button MMO mouse that usually sells for around £40 to £50. I believe I got mine for probably around 40 or something. And as a World of Warcraft player myself, I love having the 12 side buttons. And if any of you have looked into MMO mice before, you know that they are hella expensive. But the M913 basically just gives me everything that I need without breaking my wallet or bank or whatever. So that got me thinking, if my £40 mouse already does everything that I want it to, then what exactly are you getting when you pay more, say like £70, £140 or even £160 on a gaming mouse? Today we're gonna find out, and for this we have 5 contenders. We've got a ultra budget gaming mouse, and we go all the way up to an esports flagship. So starting off with the £10 mouse, at the bottom of the ladder we have the LuLabboard wireless gaming mouse. Now on paper this thing looks surprisingly impressive. It has RGB lighting, it has wireless connectivity, programmable buttons and a gaming design, all for just £10. Like 20 years ago, a wireless gaming mouse at this price would have been unthinkable. The problem is that the specifications only tell part of the story. You see, with ultra budget mice like this, you're usually dealing with unknown sensors, questionable quality control, limited software support and a potentially shorter lifespan. Now, does this mean that the mouse is bad? Well, no. In fact, for somebody currently using a basic office mouse, this would probably feel like a massive upgrade over what they currently have. But it is important to understand what you are getting. You see, you're not getting an age sensor trusted by competitive players, you're not getting premium switches, and you're not exactly getting long-term reliability. You see, this mouse and mice like this are built for one purpose: to be affordable. So if your budget is extremely tight, it's probably a good enough mouse for what you need it for. But it's certainly not the type of mouse that you'll be excited about 2 years from now. Moving on to the £40 sweet spot. Now, we have for this one the Logitech G203 LIGHTSYNC, and honestly, this is where gaming mice start getting seriously good. So the G203 has become something of a legend because it proves that you don't need to spend a fortune to get a good gaming experience. You get a reliable sensor, a 1000 Hz polling rate, 6 programmable buttons, onboard memory, RGB lighting, and most importantly, Logitech's reputation for quality. The shape is comfortable, the clicks feel good, the software works, everything feels just really polished. And that's the key difference here. Compared to the £10 gaming mouse that we mentioned earlier, you're not necessarily gaining flashy features, you're gaining consistency. This is the point where the mouse stops feeling cheap and starts feeling dependable. So for like average players and gamers playing let's say shooters, MOBAs, strategy games, RPGs or even MMOs, the G203 is genuinely enough. In fact, this is where diminishing returns begin, because from this point onwards, every pound spent gives you less improvement than before. Next one, we have the £70 competitive upgrade. Now, at this point, we are moving into enthusiast territory. And for the £70 option, we have the Razer Viper V3 HyperSpeed. And this represents a completely different philosophy. So the G203 LIGHTSYNC was built to be a great all-rounder. The Viper V3, however, is built to help you win. So it's lighter than the G203, it's wireless, its sensor is better, and its latency is lower. And the entire design, as you can imagine, focuses on speed and precision. Like, this is the type of mouse aimed more towards players grinding ranked matches in, say, Counter-Strike, Valorant, Apex Legends or Overwatch or whatever, shooter you play. Now, this is the interesting part. If you're playing single player games, say RPGs or casual multiplayer games, you may not even notice much difference. But if you're playing a fast-paced competitive shooter like esports title for like hundreds of hours, these improvements start to actually matter. This is the first price bracket as well where performance gains become genuinely measurable. The catches, well, you're paying nearly twice as much as the G203 for improvements that many players may never fully appreciate. Now we move on to one of the most famous gaming mice ever made, the Logitech G502 Lightspeed. Now, the G502 doesn't care about being the lightest mouse. It doesn't care about esports trends. Instead, it asks a much different question. What if we put every feature imaginable into one mouse? So you get 11 programmable buttons, adjustable weights, an infinite scroll wheel, wireless connectivity, a top-tier sensor, excellent battery life, and enough customization options to keep a tinkerer busy for days. Like, this is like the Swiss Army knife of gaming mice. MMO players love it. RPG players love it, productivity users love it, content creators love it. It can do almost everything. The only downside being the weight. Compared to modern esports mice, the G502 feels noticeably heavier. But if you're like not playing professionally, then that may not matter to you at all. For many people, the G502 is actually more useful than a dedicated esports mouse because it just offers so much more versatility. Next, we have the last one, which going for around £160. We have the Logitech PRO X2 SUPERSTRIKE. Now, this is where things get really interesting because by this point, you're no longer paying for extra features. You're paying for perfection, or at least Logitech's version of it. The PRO X2 strips away almost everything no infinite scroll wheel, no extra buttons, no adjustable weights, and no flashy gimmicks. Just a lightweight shell, premium components, and elite level performance. This mouse exists for one reason: to disappear. The idea is that you shouldn't notice the mouse at all. Every movement should feel natural. Every click should register instantly. Every gram of unnecessary weight should be removed. For professional esports players, this makes perfect sense. For everyone else, the value proposition becomes much harder to justify. Because while the Pro X2 is objectively fantastic, it's also a classic example of chasing the final 5%, and that last 5% costs a lot of money. So again, how much should you spend? Well, after looking at all 5 mice here, I've come to a pretty simple conclusion. The cheapest mouse gets the job done. Around £40 gets you a genuinely good gaming experience. Around £70 gets you competitive level performance. Around £140 buys additional features and versatility, and around £160 buys you the absolute best performance money can buy. But here's the thing. The best mouse isn't necessarily the most expensive one. In fact, it's the one that fits the way you play. For example, an MMO player who plays like World of Warcraft and Diablo and such, like myself, might get more value from a £40 Redragon mouse with 12 side buttons than a £160 esports mouse. A Valorant player might sacrifice features for lower weight and better responsiveness, and a casual player may never even notice the difference between a £40 mouse and a £160 one. So if you're wondering how much you should spend on a gaming mouse, for most people I would say somewhere between £30 to £70. That is where the sweet spot is. That's where you get the biggest improvements, and beyond that, you're not really buying a better mouse, you're buying a more specialized one. And that's a very different thing. It's kind of like, for example, if say you were a race car driver, right? And you switch from say a stock hatchback car or something to like say a specialized race car. Yes, the specialized race car is objectively better, but it's built for racing over say like carrying groceries or just driving say from point A to point B and such. And that is the point of this video, so show you that just because a mouse costs more doesn't mean that it's necessarily better. It's more the case on what you need a mouse for rather than what that mouse offers or how much it costs. But without further ado, thanks for watching. I really appreciate you watching this video, and yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Which mouse are you rocking? I'd love to see what mice you guys have. And yeah, as always, stay alpha, stay awesome. Peace.